Hey guys, this is TPGS and today we're back with another set of tutorials, and in these next set of tutorials we're going to be looking at HTML. And HTML is used in every single website on the internet. It's combined with different languages such as PHP, JavaScript, sometimes XML, XHTML, CSS, things like that. We'll probably move into CSS in later tutorials, but today we should be building a simple shop out of pure HTML. It's very basic. It's probably one of the most basic shops you'll ever make. It's so basic that we use a third-party processor to handle our payments. So as a demonstration, I'm just going to show you how to do that. Now, before we get started, you need a couple of things. You need some images, depending on what you want to sell. Obviously, you don't need the images of that. So to speed things up, I've just took some images off Doodle. I've got an apple named A and a banana named B, and I've put them on my desktop under the site, test site, and then images, and obviously that's the file that we'll be working on in a minute. So that's the file, and as you can see, this is images a.diff and b.diff. Now it's very important to remember, and what you should also remember is every single every single page that we build will now go inside this test site section. So so it should make things easier when it comes to calling up the images and things like that. So just make sure you keep everything inside this test site folder, and so we can begin. I'm using PHP Designer 2008. You can use Dreamweaver. Notepad++ is free, open source software. You can use that, or you can just use WordPad. Okay, so this one, what I want to do is when you create a HTML file in in Dreamweaver and in PHP Designer, it'll create all your doc types and things like that, and just basically for the browser to recognize all the things behind it. Okay, so first I want to set a title, which is what appears at the top in our window, and as you can see at the moment it's untitled, but we should change this to test shop. Okay, this is all in our header, which is why in our file's head, which is why it's in the head tags. So we're going to move down to our body, which is the main content, or the main body of our page, as the tag suggests. And I'm just going to type some stuff out and then tell you what it means a little bit later on. And you can just type along with me as well if you want. Okay, so center tab obviously centers it in the middle of the page. Now H1 is a header or heading, and there's 4 types of heading. I think 4. I'm not sure. I think it's 4. H1, H2, H3, and H4, and they all vary in size. And H1 is the biggest, I think. H1 is the biggest, but it's big enough for what we want to use it for anyway. So that's going to center the words test shop in the middle of our page, and it's going to be given a header. And on the next line underneath that, right to the right, as we haven't set any alignment, it's going to say shop items. Now these breaks are like line breaks, and as you can see, we've got center and slash center. With this, because we don't need to do a slash br, as you see, that's not the right tag. We don't need a br and a slash br. All that we need, or break rather, is space and then closing your HTML tag, and that basically just opens the tag, executes the tag, and then closes the tag in the same tag. Hope that isn't too confusing for you. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start calling up our table. Now we're going to use a table to align everything together, but also just to make the shop look nicer. So we'll start with table. Now everything I write after table that comes up in green is the attributes of the table. It's the attributes, so we want the width of the table to be 100%. Now you don't have to do these apostrophes over everything. I just do because it makes things easier, and it's just the way I've learned to do it. So, but it doesn't actually matter. Okay, so there's our table sorted. So what we're going to do is just going to end that table to make things easier a little bit later on. I'm just going to hit return a couple of times. Okay, so now we can start our table and what we want in the table. So we're T-body. Now you'll see that PHP Designer automatically ends the tags. Well, we don't actually want that yet, so we're going to hit return again a couple of times. And we're going to set up a TR, and then hit return. And now is where we start our main table, so TD. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure all of these are the same height all the way through, or consistent widths rather, not height. So we're going to set a width of just 10%. Now later on, when we do CSS, we can we can do that through CSS. But at the moment, obviously, it's just HTML. I'm just going to do the same thing for each one. Okay, so there's the main section of the table. So now we can just end that. I don't want to say. Sometimes you already end a tag even if it's already there. Well, I do sometimes. And then we have our T-body tag.